Hey everybody, I was inspired to make this video by watching a video by Matt Williamson, and it's kind of a response just in one part, really. And it's not just him. I'm not just responding to him directly or anything, partly him, but mostly I'm taking it away from him and to other people too that are Beatles fans, okay? He made a video, which, by the way, I should say that I agreed with 95% of what he was saying in the video. It was a video about how he did a previous video where he was talking about the most favorite Beatles songs out of the Beatles catalog. I think he did a survey and he had 4,000 people, and a lot of people, he was saying, were upset with him and complaining in his comments because John Lennon seemed to be in too many of the people's favorites. They didn't like that, say, Paul McCartney wasn't there. And basically what he was saying in the video, as I say, I agreed with pretty wholeheartedly that, look, it's about favorites, right? When we're talking about people's favorites, there is no right or wrong. You could have a favorite song, somebody else might not. And there's no correct or incorrect answer for that. That's why it's just a favorite. It's not the best. It's not, that's a whole nother argument if you want to say what's technically the best on a kind of accurate level or something of a scholastic, academic level. That's a whole other thing. But at one point during his video, he said something that kind of made me want to do this video of my own. That's where he said that for him personally, just speaking for himself, he said he's not really that interested in the solo Beatles. Now, I remember I'm paraphrasing here. It's not verbatim, word for word, but he said he's not that interested in the solo Beatles careers, but he does cherry pick. He does listen to some of it. He likes some of it. He cherry picks it. And that's okay, right? But he said something at one point. He says, I don't listen to anything from Paul McCartney after 1981. And then he said, I don't listen to anything by George after 1981, and Ringo I don't hardly listen to at all. A lot of people, we go through that all the time, right? It's just Ringo, that kind of thing, right? But like I said, I don't mean to single Matt out here exactly, but he just gave me, the impulse to do this video that's been in my mind for a while, all right? People do this. When I say people, I'm not talking about general people who don't care about the Beatles at all. If you're somebody watching this video and you're not a Beatles fan per se, you don't even get what the big deal is about the Beatles, who cares? Well, I'm not talking to you. I'm addressing this to people who are Beatle fans, love the Beatles music, and even, especially, fans of the Beatles who like solo Beatles music up to a point, They like solo music by John, Paul, George, and Ringo. They're open to some of it. But for some reason, they shut the door on a certain period, after a certain period, and that's it. They won't even listen. They plug their fingers in their ears. They say la 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 la, and they have no interest in anything else past the date. Now, for Matt, that date was 1981, after John's death, roughly around there. Am I to take from that, and I don't know because he wasn't specific, that he's never heard the album Tug of War? I assume he had to have heard Paul McCartney's Tug of War. It's considered a masterpiece. Of course, there's no right or wrong answer. Somebody might listen to the Tug of War album and not like it at all. But generally speaking, it's hard to say that's not a worthy album with some worthy stuff on it. It's a good album. Some people think it's a great album, one of his best. And I've heard people say, oh, Paul McCartney hasn't done anything good since Band on the Run. I've heard people say that Tug of War, the album I just mentioned in 1982, was the last good thing he did, and I'm not interested in anything else. Don't even talk to me. I don't care. I don't understand how you could know that you don't like something, or you're not going to like something, or you don't care if you're a fan to begin with, you see? That's why I'm going to take a moment here, because I know people are thinking this, and I try to stay one jump ahead of people, what they might be thinking or going to say about me if they find it hypocritical. Because I often will say something like, oh, I don't care about Kanye West. I have no interest in Kanye West. No, thank you. People may say, well, how do you know you're not going to like Kanye West if you don't listen to it? Listen to it first. You might like it. I said, well, I don't care whether I like it or not. I'm just not interested. But there's a difference, right? Same thing with Taylor Swift. Now, from what I've heard, Taylor Swift has a lot of good, great material out there, and it's quite good, especially in this time and age. Her music's quite good, and maybe up my alley. But I don't care. So too bad for me. I'm missing a lot of potentially enjoyable Taylor Swift songs that I'm just not interested in. But if you stay with me, that's the difference. I'm not interested in Taylor Swift. I have no vested interest. I'm not interested in Kanye West. I don't have no interest. Let's do one more example. The Zombies, the classic 60s group, right? I'm very happy with listening to She's Not There, Tell Her No, and Time of the Season, and that's all I really care about from the Zombies. A lot of people have told me, you're crazy. You should listen to Odyssey and Oracle, the whole album. They got a lot of great songs. You're missing out, bud. I know I am. Boo-hoo for me. But I do have the best of CD comp with the Zombies. One day I'll give it a listen. But having said that, what I'm trying to get across here is it's different. It's not being inconsistent. It's not being a hypocrite. Because people I like, I'm interested in hearing everything. I like Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Because I love Joan Jett, I was interested in going back and listening to all her Runaways albums. Because I like Joan Jett, I listened to her all the way up to present day. You know, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers quite a bit. So I'm not adverse to listening to all his stuff. Now, I haven't gotten to it yet. But there's a difference between wanting to, but just haven't gotten there yet. And somebody flatly saying, oh, solo Beatles after 1981, I'm done. Door closed, mind shut. Of course, it's a person's right to think like that. Some people shut the door after Band on the Run. Some people shut the door after a Tug of War with Paul McCartney, this is. Some people go up to Flaming Pie, his 1997 masterpiece, okay? One of his greatest albums. I wonder if this individual and others out there watching me have never heard Flaming Pie, the album. Maybe you've heard Flaming Pie and you don't think the album's all that. I can tell you on Flaming Pie, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I think a lot of you will agree though, there are 3 songs on Flaming Pie that I dare say are the best songs, among the best songs, not the best, among the best songs Paul McCartney's ever written. That's Calico Skies, Some Days, and also Little Willow. Also, I'll put Beautiful Night in there, which Ringo joins him for, but the whole album to me, give or take 1 or 2 tracks. I think there are 2 tracks I'm not too keen on, but it's a great album. And 3 of the tracks, the ones I first mentioned, are as good as anything he did. They fit right at home on the Revolver. They fit right at home on the White Album. Say more the White Album, I would say. More the White Album. Even in the 2000s, there are great albums by Paul. Or, if you don't want to say great, good albums. Are you kidding? I mean, just look at Chaos and Creation in the Backyard. That's an acclaimed album, Chaos and Creation. It has Paul at his more vulnerable, more deep, more soul-searching lyrics. And a song like just Jenny Wren, for example, is a classic of Paul. I would say a lot of people might agree with. You know, in addition to that, there's a song called Too Much Rain of Chaos and Creation in the Backyard. That's wonderful. I would say Paul's 2007 album, Memory Almost Full, has some really good choice stuff on there. And there's something on all his albums. People are missing it. How could you be a Beatles fan and a Paul McCartney fan to some extent? You listen to the 1970s albums and Goodnight Nurse, and you don't want to know about this? What's wrong? You know, it's not like you don't like Paul. It's not like you don't like the Beatles. You're missing out on a lot of great stuff. And the same thing goes for George Harrison. You know, if you're not listening past 1980 or 1981, you're missing like the Cloud 9 album, which is like, to me, George's 1987 Cloud 9 album is probably his second greatest album after All Things Must Pass. There's some really good stuff on there. And just off the top of my head, the Brainwashed album has such good stuff on there. Any Road, Stuck Inside a Cloud. It's just a couple off the top of my head. There's good stuff. You're missing good stuff. And Ringo Starr, yes, I'll defend him as well. Ringo really came into his own in later years because he started writing more of his own music or co-writing it with other people. But there's some good stuff on Ringo's large catalog of solo albums. I'm telling you, if you enjoy What Goes On, if you enjoy Act Naturally, if you enjoy I Want to Be Your Man with a Little Help from My Friends, you name it, from Ringo, Octopus's Garden, etc., etc., there's plenty of solo Ringo you're going to enjoy. You have to take the time to listen to it and try it. And for the purposes of this video, I'm saying if you have no interest in that, who cares? Shut the door. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And your argument may be, and I've used the same argument, I don't have to get it. Mr. Mayo doesn't have to get it, doesn't have to understand it. Your decision is yours, and that's what matters. But I still think it's crazy, okay? Anybody out there who likes the Beatles as a group, who doesn't try the solo Beatles at all, I'll never get that. Because I maintain that there are some solo Beatles songs that are just as good, and in a few cases better than certain individual Beatles songs that are a little like the lesser Beatles songs, as great as the Beatles are. You know, you can't tell me that I always pick on this song and I like it. You can't tell me that Paul's song What You're Doing is better than his song Some Days, say, off Flaming Pot. There's no way. You know, you can't tell me that Only Love Remains off Press to Play, one of his maligned albums. I malign it. I don't love Press to Play, but I recognize Only Love Remains is a great ballad, one of the greatest ballads Paul's ever done. And there are songs like this scattered throughout the career catalog. Don't just be totally ignorant, folks. Don't. Oh, I can be ignorant with Justin Bieber. I can be ignorant with the Zombies. I can be ignorant with Taylor Swift or anybody else I might want to name here, or rap music, because I don't have anything invested. I don't care to begin with. It's one thing to like the Beatles and the individuals and not want to really go deep into their solo careers. So I'm really interested in hearing your feedback on this one. Have a great day.